Hey there, it's Monday morning, and I had a comment yesterday on the clamp video whether it would loosen up. Okay, so here's the original prototype here, and it was left clamped overnight. Okay, still tight, doesn't loosen up. What you got to look at is surface area. That's the idea behind the wedge. Not only does the wedge lock the action of the moving jaw, it also spreads the surface area. And that was there was kind of a evolution from this. I really should grab the other clamp and show you what I'm talking about. Hold on. Okay, see, here's the clamp that I started with. This is the original idea, all right? What I did with this one is I glued sandpaper, sanding belt actually, along the edge of the bar. And then this could grip onto it. Now, the problem is that I'm looking for something to clamp. Infinitely adjustable like the other one. You push it up where it goes, and then it immediately starts to lock because it's gripping on the sandpaper. The problem is that it's digging into the bar. It's making a dip because the thing inside here has to be angled a little bit, at least, for this to start gripping on the bar. Otherwise, it won't grip. If it's flat, it won't grip. So rather than put the sandpaper on the bar itself, you put the sandpaper on the wedge. The point that presses down in the same place as making a dent in the bar on the other one is pressing down on that steel shim that's on the top, and it's spreading the load across the whole thing. The only place that it can dent in is on the back here slightly. And I kind of overplayed the amount of force at work here. See, this one's still tight too, so it didn't loosen up. I kind of overplayed the amount of force that's happening here, okay? When this is pushing forwards, it's creating that down force on the wedge. It's also creating that up force on the front of the thing, but they're not equal to this, the amount of force here, because there's also that force that tries to push it back as well. So a lot of the force is being transferred to the bar itself, making the bar bend. So in actual fact, there are two weak points with any kind of a clamp. I talked about this before, but in this one here, it's that point down here, and it's also the bar. The bar will bend, okay? And if it's not strong enough, the bar will break. I had a couple comments about moving the wedge to the backside. I can't see that working, first of all. Second of all is that there's not as much space. You would have to extend that up. So, you know, that would make it twice as bulky. You can't put a wedge in a place where it won't fit. You have to make it bigger. So you would have to add at least another inch to the bottom here, which would make it too bulky. And you don't have to when you can put it here. Okay, so here it is. I have got this assembled, and you know, it works the same as the other one. This is a little bit stiffer, mainly because I'm not being as careful. And I need a piece of wood. Hang on. All right, so this pulls back very much like the other one. And once again, the concept is that it has to be sitting down on the bar, tight on the bar. Okay, so this pushes ahead, the wedge pushes in, and then we start to tighten. And it looks like it's working. It's not, something's happening here. I think the wedge was slipping. The wedge is slipping. The wedge is slipping. That is a problem. Yeah, that's funny because the wedge is slipping when it shouldn't be. I'm not pleased, okay? I'm not happy. I changed something here, okay? I changed the width of this to, I think this is 2.5. 2.5. The other one's 2. That is what's causing the problem, I think. This needs to tilt, right? It needs to tilt. This has to be a certain width to tilt a little bit to apply the force at the back here to make the wedge lock. Okay, so me making the thing wider made it so that it doesn't tilt as much. What I did was I cut so much off of this to make it narrower so I would get the correct turning action type thing. I also glued a block very roughly onto the front here. Now I've got the stick, and I'll put the clamp down, I'll slide it forwards, push the wedge in. That was another thing I noticed, that the wedge, the ramp inside wasn't clean, like there was some glue sticking out. So that was affecting how the wedge would work. All right, so now I tighten it up, and we'll see how it works. Okay, that's tighter than I can't say it's tighter, but it's as tight as I would make a glue up. All right, so you can see it's still tilting forwards a little bit, but it's definitely got a strong hold on this. So I'm gonna really crank on that and see what happens. Yeah, it's starting to bend in a bit because as this thing levers this way, it has more space to lift up. You know, I switched from the 10-degree angle to the 5-degree angle, thinking that the 10-degree angle was too steep, but maybe I should split the difference and go 7.5 degrees, because what's happening here, like I described before, this thing has to rotate to put the downforce on the wedge here and dig in on the back here like that. And in doing so, it's almost flattening that out. I mean, it's gone from 5 degrees down to about 2 degrees. So if I increase it to 7.5 degrees, then it would be at that 5 degrees. It would be pushing this down harder against the bar, and it would be tilting up less. You know, playing with this some more, and it occurred to me that rather than have the front of this pad 90 degrees to the bar normally, it could be tilted back a little bit, like cut back, so that as you apply pressure, that actually straightens it up, makes it 90 degrees to the bar as this thing starts to twist. Another thing, somebody asked me if you know, I could avoid all these problems with the wedge and all that, you know, clearance and by putting the adjusting thing over in the fixed jaw, like the very much like a bar, like a pipe clamp. And I made clamps like that before, but they weren't really convenient to use. You know, you really want to be doing this all in one action, right? And it's the easiest way. I know this from experience. And using those clamps that I made and using pipe clamps, that's the reason why I don't like, well, other than the fact that they're big and heavy. But you want to be doing all this action in one, like right here. Not having to try to adjust this over here and then try to tighten this over there. This works best to have it all here. And that's the reason why they make those, you know, commercial clamps like that.
And as your mother was there at your beginning, so I shall be there at your end. And when you die, and die you shall, your transition shall be to the sound of gladiators. I salute you.